think this game is going to come down to, and I was talking to somebody about this earlier today, I think this is going to come down to fourth quarter, under 2 minutes, whoever has the ball last.
From the gridiron to the court, talking all that is sports. Members of the Busted Urban Nation bring to you our Nation Sports Show. Here are your hosts, John Blake, Carl Roberts, Mark from New Mexico, and Stephen Wyatt.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Our Nation Sports Show, coming at you like we do every Thursday night, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. right here on YouTube. I am your host, John. We'll be with you, like I said before, until 9 o'clock. You can join us in one of two ways. Option one is you can go to the Bus Open Discord. That's at www.discord.gg/BustedOpenNation. Go all the way down to Our Nation Sports Show, and that's who you can call into the show. If you're not on Discord, and at this point you should, because it's a great thing to use, you can get in contact with us through our social media. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it. We are on it. And man, we have a great show tonight for you guys. Let me bring in who I have here right now. We have coming at you from New Jersey. Gonna go to him first. My brother from another mother, Carl Roberts. Carl, how you doing tonight?
What's up, guys? Ready for another good show?
Yeah, another great show. Another great show. Gonna go now to somebody who's making his debut on the show. Mark's from New Mexico. Marks, how you doing tonight?
Good evening, sports fans. Let's have a good night of sports talk.
Absolutely. And last but not least, my right-hand man. If it wasn't for this guy, I don't know what I'd do. But that would be Stephen Wyden, Stevie Wonder himself. Steve, how you doing tonight?
Well, despite Tom Brady's drunken state after that Super Bowl 55 win against the Kansas City Chiefs, unlike Mr. Brady, I'm actually doing pretty damn good. It's going to be a good show tonight. So let's go.
Absolutely. Was there a Super Bowl on Sunday? I can't seem to put my finger on it.
Yeah, there was some big sporting event Sunday. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I know what you guys are talking about, but I'm going to need a little hint here.
There was this game that happened. Actually,
I thought it was just murder.
Capital One murder, first degree.
Yes.
The slaughtering of the Kansas City Chiefs' bodies.
Yes, folks. The Super Bowl happened. Now,
Let's say,
I know we were on here last week and we all thought it was going to be a close game, one possession, come down to the fourth quarter. Did anybody expect, not talking about the penalties or any of that crap, did anybody expect to be such a freaking blowout?
No. And not only that, but what you're failing to mention too, John, is I am the only one out of the three that were on with me last week, you, Hijacker, and Carl, that actually got the game correctamundo.
No. I called for the Chiefs to win.
No. I said Tampa Bay was going to win. You said Kansas City. John said Kansas City. Hijacker said Kansas City.
True.
But I was the only
one that called it.
Yep. I didn't call the score correctly, but I called the game. But that game,
I don't think anybody expected the score the way it was.
No. I mean, that game was so one-sided, and the biggest problem that Kansas City had was the injured offensive line in that game. Eric Fisher not being in that game was a huge loss for Kansas City.
Not only that, the pocket kept on collapsing on Holmes.
And that defense of Tampa Bay was swarming like sharks that smelt the blood in the ocean. And,
which means
John,
they did their homework.
Correct. And John, we were talking about this last week, talking about, who can stop Kansas City? I don't know about this. Kansas City is a unstoppable juggernaut. Well, they stopped the reigning MVP for the season, Aaron Rodgers, who won it this year for a third time in his career. They stopped a Hall of Fame quarterback in Drew Brees in the second round. Think about this. They have beaten 3 Super Bowl starting quarterbacks, 3 Super Bowl MVP starting quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. And even though the game was very frustrating to watch, but I got to give Tampa Bay their credit because they did their homework.
Yep. They studied those videos left and right before they even got to the field.
Yep. And go ahead, John.
No, go ahead.
And they did the one thing that a lot of people don't even do. They double teamed Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
Double teamed.
They sure did.
Double teamed. That was a genius move by the Buccaneers.
Yeah. No, to me, I know we brought this up. This has been brought up a lot. Do you think with the Chiefs, everything going on with Reed, do you think that had any part of this at all?
Absolutely.
That's on the mindset of everybody on that team.
Absolutely.
I know. And there's some breaking news with that one.
What's the breaking news?
Britt Reed is no longer with the team. He was placed on administrative leave before the game, and as of this afternoon, he was notified he is no longer part of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Interesting.
Can't say I'm not surprised. I mean, that because his actions that night were flat out stupid. I mean, how dumb can you be to get behind the wheel after drinking 2 to 3 beers, knowing that you had alcohol in your system and you possibly can injure a child, let alone kill a child? Because last time I know we heard, she was critically injured and
Correct.
in critical
Yeah.
condition. How
A
stupid.
5-year-old.
A 5-year-old. Come on. How stupid are you, Britt? You know that you had issues years ago. You drunk 2 or 3 beers. You got behind the wheel because you're an idiot. You were selfish. You weren't thinking about people around you. And look what you possibly could have done. End an innocent child's life. And the child's life is not even full potential yet.
And I am going to say this right here, right now on our show. A good friend of ours is Bill DeMott, who runs the Carrie Ann DeMott Foundation, whose daughter was killed by a drunk driver. And we are adamant about people drinking and driving. And this shows you that just because you're a professional does not mean you can get away with being drunk driving. We support this foundation. We encourage people to support them no matter what. But
Yes.
please don't drink and drive. This is a reminder of what can happen. It might not affect you. It's the lives you affect after the incident happens.
Correct.
Yeah, absolutely. But the problem is, you get these athletes, you get these people who are in the spotlight who think that they're above the law.
Yep.
And I don't give a crap if it's any of us in here. If you're an athlete, I don't give a crap. To me, drinking and driving is the worst thing to do. If you're that intoxicated that you think you can drive home, call a freaking cab.
It's not that difficult.
I mean, I know we're going off a little bit of a tangent here for a second, but I know that there's some places that on the big drinking holidays, like Memorial Day and all that, it provides free car service.
Correct.
Yes.
So take advantage of that. That was just a simple PSA from Our Nation Sports Show. But as far as this game, though, as much as we want to sit here, and I heard it all week on Sports Talk Radio, the refs helped the Bucks, which we'll get to that in a second. A lot of this also has to go on Kansas City. Because
they didn't show up.
No.
Plain and simple.
A, they didn't show up, and B, you know how you were saying, guys were saying before about the offensive line situation? Yes. What's the one thing, Steven? I know I go back to this every week. What's the one thing I always preach?
No matter what, no matter if you got Tom Brady, if you got Peyton Manning, who played 20 plus years in his career, Drew Brees, Ben Roethlisberger, and even a young 25 starting quarterback that won a Super Bowl and an MVP in the regular season, Patrick Mahomes, you have to have an offensive line. Because if you don't, my friends, then you will suffer the consequences of a beatdown, of a thrashing, slaughtering, like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers displayed on the Kansas City Chiefs this past Sunday night. 31-9. No touchdowns allowed. Think about this. What team has allowed Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs team to not score a touchdown? This team accomplished something into itself. You hold the most talented quarterback, arguably right now at a young starting age, an MVP starting quarterback, threw 50 touchdowns in his first season as a starter, won a Super Bowl the next year and the MVP. No touchdowns, 2 interceptions plus, fumbles, sacks, hits, the whole 9 yards. Tampa Bay beat the living hell out of this young man. And I think it may not be a blueprint to what I think. You know what? I think other teams can assess to what you can do. If other teams want to have success against this Kansas City team, watch what the Buccaneers did to this young Chiefs team. You double team Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think, to me, it was one of those things that Kansas City just didn't show up. But like we were saying before, as much as the blame goes to Kansas City, there's also a third part. And I know, Carl, this is one thing you have been freaking salivating.
Before we get to that part, history was made at the Super Bowl, not even by both teams. NFL had their first ever female referee make history by going to the Super Bowl. Yep. Congratulations to the NFL, and congratulations, Sarah Thomas of the Referee Association. Big, huge props to you guys. You did something right.
One other thing before we get to the penalties and stuff. You guys know also the Super Bowl was the lowest viewed Super Bowl on TV.
Yes.
Here's my trivia question for you guys, and here's for the show for the people listening as well. What did it overtake?
Super Bowl 53.
No.
No?
No.
Oh,
Any guesses?
I have nothing. Just go ahead, John.
Super Bowl 3
Yes.
Oh.
was the last time had the lowest viewed one, which kind of surprises me, being that we're in the middle of a pandemic right now, and how nobody can really do anything.
I can attribute to this why this game was low. Look at the score and look at the flow of the game.
Mm-hmm. It's
It
absolutely.
was all one-sided.
Yeah, absolutely. I do want to make one quick mention before we get back to the talk for a second. We'll be joined in about 7 minutes or so by Ken Serlin of CBS Sports out in Indianapolis, talk more about the Super Bowl and then what's going on with the Colts. But
Real quick. Also, before we get back into the conversation, I want to give a shout out to HER for a kick-ass rendition of America the Beautiful with a stunning eargasm, if you will, of a guitar solo. Because me being a musician, me being a drummer, when she grabbed that first note on that guitar and started playing the solo, it's like the guitar was singing. And the more she kept playing, the more notes that I kept hearing that were making me feel emotional, because her music on that solo grabbed my attention. So props to her for that.
If I could do a quick take for just a minute.
Sure.
I believe we saw the self-destruction of the Chiefs this Sunday. The way how everything went, everyone talked about how good their season was, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I believe all that just came down on them. The pressure of defending and what's going on with the line, the defense, the offense. I mean, the Bucs really did double team Tyreek Hill, and I was impressed with that, because that was one key thing I said that should happen, that the Bucs should do, and they did it.
And also, too, props to our first guest on our Nation Sports Show on Monday last week, Danielle McCartan. She nailed her $35 bet for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. $750 later. Props to you, Danielle.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing also that we're forgetting. Mark, going back to what you just said, I have to disagree with you. I don't think we saw the destruction. They're still a young team. I think this was just a
hiccup.
More. I think
Give it
it
a
was
hiccup.
about a team that had a destruction this past year, Mark.
But it wasn't
your
the worst self-destruction we saw. The Steelers had the self-destruction.
Big time.
Yeah.
And I'm a Steelers fan, and I'm willing to admit that.
Can't say what Kansas City had. Like I said before, what Kansas City had was just a hiccup. Mahomes is still young enough, and I'm tired of these people who are sitting there and saying that because Mahomes didn't win, it takes him out of the question of being one of the greatest quarterbacks.
Look at Aaron Rodgers.
Nope.
To me, that's a
He's
load of
got
bullshit.
too much time left in his career
He's got a lot of time, yes, to
And
bounce back.
Brett Favre was a first ballot Hall of Famer and won one Super Bowl and lost a second Super Bowl. So who cares? Rings do not make a Hall of Famer. The quarterback or the respective position player, the wide receiver, the tight end, whoever it is, that makes the person, not the Super Bowl rings. Get it straight.
Here's the thing also that people forget it. Mahomes has already won a Super Bowl. He's won a Super Bowl MVP. Did he also win MVP in the regular season?
Yes, he did. His second year.
He also, threw for 50 touchdowns in a season.
Yep.
This guy has accomplished more in such a short time span than some of these other quarterbacks who have been in the league for 5-6 years. So this crap that, Patrick Mahomes didn't win. Stop that right now. That felt good. But
He went against Brady, the GOAT, the greatest of all time, and a Tampa Bay defense that was shrouding in greatness for the rest of the season. 7 straight wins to the Super Bowl. They were
Now, do you
stealthy.
guys realize something? Before we get into the other stuff we needed to talk about, that I know I'm going to go on a rant, Steve's probably going to go on a rant, but did you guys realize something, that next year, if Brady does stay with the Buccaneers, he will be the second quarterback ever to beat all teams?
Wow.
Yep.
One other person has done it.
Brett Favre.
Correct.
Oh, and we're getting another one. Peyton Manning.
No, he did not beat all the teams.
He didn't?
Peyton Manning has not beaten
Okay.
all the teams.
Okay. Well, Favre, correct. Yes.
Favre has, because he went from the NFC to the AFC.
Oof. Wow, forgot about it. Yeah, but honestly, I don't know. We'll get to that in a bit because I have a few things about what I think Brady needs to do now. But let's go
Yeah,
on
stop
to
drinking.
But yeah, let's go on to the penalties. Let's look at that area first.
Oh, boy.
And let's let the crazy person go first because he looks like he's about to jump through the screen in a second.
Nah. I'm going to go on a nice little rant, and it's simple. The penalties that they were calling at first on the Kansas City Chiefs were ridiculous. I'm sorry, the guy's tripping, going down, barely touches the other player, and they call out pass interference. Are you crazy? Then, in the end zone, Brady throws 10 feet from the receiver. Pass interference. Bullshit. Get your
Agreed.
eyes examined. We already have one blind person that can see this shit. I'm done.
And I'll tag team right there. It's like Brady knew that the guy was going to be there. And
Exactly.
now I understand some of the other penalties, like the kicker. Yes, I get that. That was an idiotic move. Some of the other ones that they did, idiotic moves. But the first couple of penalties were excruciating. 8 penalties for 95 yards in the first half. Tampa
And
Bay.
3 penalties on one drive.
Yep.
3 penalties. Forgot about that. 3 penalties on one drive. Tampa Bay in the first half into the whole game.
2 of
None.
them were on the same person.
Yep.
That wasn't even near this guy.
Yep.
Okay, but you guys are forgetting the biggest penalty of all.
The unsportsmanlike conduct.
That supposedly, I think I heard
Brady did it in the second quarter to that player.
the match, but supposedly it was Brady who started it.
And it was never called.
Yeah, the golden boy, the pretty boy of the National Football League, didn't get fucking called for it.
Nope.
But yet Tyrann Mathieu gets it because people forget that even though it's a game, you get emotionally invested in this damn thing.
Yep.
You guys realize you had a rumble right in the first quarter, right after kickoff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
You could see the way the game was going to go. Tampa Bay was out for blood.
Yeah,
Yep. They were.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the whole thing, I think this whole notion of these penalties was like, enough was enough. I mean, granted, I'm going to say this right now on the air. I didn't get a chance to watch the whole game because I was at work Sunday night. But I heard of the penalties. I heard all the commotion on social media. And I think this is ridiculous. That this is where it doesn't, to me, I can't believe I'm about to say this. With all these penalties being called, did they do that because of Brady? That because of the fact that Brady was in the Super Bowl and all that?
I don't know. That's an interesting question that you're posing, because like the other penalties in the game, some of the penalties, yes, were questionable penalties, and then the other penalties were blatantly on Kansas City's problem. The false starts, some of the other holding calls, some of the other offsides, that was on them. But the calls that went against them that were blatantly stupid, yeah, you can see where certain people would get very aggravated with the game.
I just think, to me, it's ridiculous that the NFL has this notion that because Brady's in the fucking game that, ooh, we can't call him for certain things, but we're going to call them against the other team.
Not just
Now-
that. Not just that. They were the first team to start a Super Bowl in their home stadium.
Yes.
All right, Carl, what do we have from Discord?
Kevin in Massachusetts says Tom Brady would be the fourth quarterback to have beaten all 32. Peyton Manning did beat all 32 along with Favre and Drew Brees.
That makes sense.
Kevin, thank you very much for that information.
Yeah, that makes sense because you got to remember. Yeah, I also realized
I totally
you.
forgot about that. Yep, Drew Brees
Yeah.
did get drafted by the Chargers and played against the Saints. Yep, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
But my thing is this crap with Brady. Now, I'm a New Yorker. Obviously, I don't like Brady because of how he pretty much had control in New England for about a amount of years.
Yep.
But at this point, and I'm talking directly to you there, Brady boy, at this point, you've won your 7th Super Bowl ring. You've won your 5th Super Bowl MVP. What the fuck do you still have to prove at this point in the game?
And that's what I said Sunday night.
At this point, what he should have done after that game, and he was on the stage with Jim Nantz, he should have turned and said, "You know what? I'm done. I'm riding off into the sunset."
Yep.
Because at this point, what does he still have to prove?
Exactly.
43 years old, 5 NFL Super Bowl MVPs, 3 regular season MVPs, and 7 Super Bowls. Please go away, despite how great he is. He is a phenomenal quarterback. He is the greatest, but please go away. It's like we're suffering from the greatness that was Michael Jordan, or the greatness that was Kobe Bryant in the Los Angeles Lakers, or the Larry Bird led Boston Celtics, or the Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy led Los Angeles Lakers. Come on. We need some fresh fucking blood in this game. And you know what? And I hate to say this.
And I'm a Patriots fan.
I
And
hate
I'm
to say
agreeing
this.
with you.
I hate to say this, and I know the logic thing is if you want it, you got to go get it. Yes, I understand that. But if you want to get to that next level and knock this guy off of his high horse, you got to assemble a team that can compete with this guy. And not only that, but you got to have the mentality that I'm going to coach my ass off against Tom Brady, because that is what the Philadelphia Eagles did in Super Bowl 52 in Minnesota. Doug Peterson had balls. He went for it on places he shouldn't have went for it, and he did, and they beat the Patriots. And I'll make this guarantee right now. If Tom Brady did not fumble that snap against Philadelphia in that fourth quarter, he would have won possibly now after Sunday his 9th Super Bowl.
This is true.
Yeah.
You want to beat him? Assemble a team. Get a defense that'll beat the shit out of him like the 08 Giants did. 19-0.
Exactly.
But that's the funny thing is, let me just hear.
Speaking of, you mentioned that the 08 Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Tom Brady did one up Steve Spagnuolo, who was the defensive coordinator of that
He did.
08 Giants.
He did.
Looks like he finally got his revenge on him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely. And to me, I just think at this point, and I know I'm going to get slack for heat for this, but at this point, I said this word with Brady, and I'm going to say this again. Brady needs to retire. Plain and simple. There's no other way about it. I don't care what anybody says, because at this point, if he wins another Super Bowl, he's just rubbing it in at this point.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Pretty
I
much.
mean, to be frank, let's call a spade here. I think after he won Super Bowl
Am I good?
5, hey, hijacker. After he won Super Bowl 5, the 5th Super Bowl, I think then he started to rub it in. I mean, the fact that we're looking at somebody here in Brady who has more Super Bowl rings than most teams do. Not most teams, every team.
Yes, because Brady has more Super Bowls than any team in the NFL by himself.
Yep.
Mhm.
It's 7-6 against the Steelers
Any organization.
and the
he has-
Patriots. He has outdone his own organization that he was with for 20 plus years.
So that means he's been in the league 20 years. Half that time has been in the Super Bowl.
Which is nuts.
Big time.
It's ridiculous. To me, yes, I'm not taking away what he's done at all. What he's done has been remarkable, has been fantastic. But the guy needs to retire. I don't know how much more I can make that clear. The guy needs to retire. That felt good.
I think we can all agree with that.
Agreed. I agree.
Yep.
But no, I just think to me, because to me, I figure out how the best way to phrase what I was about to say. Somebody else just take the lead for a second. I'm trying to figure out the best way to phrase what I was about to say.
As far as with this game too, I mean, look at the weapons that Brady had this year. I will make the argument that Brady had his best team with him as far as receivers, tight ends, running backs, and the defense. Because
Definitely.
Mike Evans, Godwin,
Antonio Brown.
the traitor himself of Pittsburgh and the Raiders. Yeah.
Yes.
That guy.
The salt really gets me on that burn of knowing that Antonio Brown
And Leonard Fournette, like Stephen P.A. said last week, and we both said it, he will unleash hell. And did he do that against the Kansas City Chiefs?
Correct.
And Gronkowski. Well, geez, I wonder, Gronk, you picked a great hell of a time to play a great game in the Super Bowl. 6 catches for 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and better yet, that second touchdown was way better than your first one. Because your first one, you were wide the fuck open, but I digress.
Not only that, that was the 4th time in NFL history a quarterback and tight end ever made connection.
Yes.
Actually, wait a second. This means now Gronk is not only now Gronk now becomes the first person to hold both the 24/7 title and get a Super Bowl ring.
Not even one full calendar year.
Correct.
He goes to WrestleMania. I'm going to WWE. He holds the 24/7 championship for a cup of coffee. R-Truth gets it again. And then he goes to the Buccaneers and wins the Super Bowl and has one of his better games in the Super Bowl. And I'll ask this question to you guys. Do you think that they were saving the veteran that was Gronkowski for possibly being in the biggest game?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I could see that.
Because he didn't have a great regular season because he was...
Not only that, he was retired.
Yep.
Who brought him out of retirement?
Brady.
Bingo. He would turn around and told him, you hang back. Don't worry about it. Get yourself ready. The big game is where we show our face.
Yep. And for that, I have to give it to Brady. That was smart by him because that's what
whether you hate him or love him. He knows how to play this game.
Brady is a smart quarterback. He's a damn good quarterback.
Good quarterback that can't hold his liquor.
Nope. And you know what?
No.
Thank you, Carl, for segueing into that because our favorite golden child of the National Football League apparently cannot hold his liquor because, apparently Mr. Brady got hammered to the point where he had to be carried off
at their own celebration.
Yes, and not only that, but here's the funny part.
Oh boy.
He threw
the Super Bowl trophy to
throws,
the boat behind him.
He throws the Super Bowl trophy. Ironically, on a boat.
Just
to who? To Gronkowski.
What happens if he didn't catch that?
It was not Gronkowski.
No, it was not.
What if they lost that trophy?
Hold on, I can find that out for you right now.
But anyways, but could you imagine if Tom Brady would have threw that Lombardi Trophy and it missed the boat of the person that was catching it, that would have been costly for the NFL.
Because
Yeah.
that Super Bowl trophy is heavy, and when it hits the water, that's going down.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's Tom Brady. They would have just given him a little pat on the wrist and said, "Go on, go on your merry way."
He probably would have. He would have probably paid the cost to make another one.
Yep.
Yeah, but we're also talking about somebody here in Brady who, like I just went on the rant before, the guy has never. I get what you guys are saying, but again, look at who we're talking about here. We're talking about Pretty Boy himself. That's basically what it comes down to.
Yeah.
If he would have dropped it, and we are actually, sorry to cut the conversation short for a second, we're actually now being joined by our guest. As soon as he connects, we'll bring him in.
All right, let's bring him in.
Let's go.
We are now being joined by Ken Sterling. You can hear him on CBS Sports Radio based in Indianapolis. Ken, can you hear us?
Yeah, absolutely. I can hear you.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Look, I don't have a picture up there, do I?
Yes, you do. Oh, now
There
you
you
There we go.
Now we
All
see
right.
you.
Now we're rolling.
Good
How you
evening,
guys
guys.
doing?
Good. How you
Very
doing?
good.
Good.
Very
Good.
good. We've been talking about the Super Bowl, and first thing I guess I'll ask, what are your thoughts about the overall Super Bowl this past year?
I thought it was. I thought the hype went way beyond what the reality was. I mean, it was the Tampa Bay defense that was the star of the day, not Patrick Mahomes, not Tom Brady. The Bucs, they were able to kind of, run and control the game, and the defense put pressure on Mahomes, and there you had it. Mahomes just wasn't. I don't know whether it was a turf toe or what it was, but he just wasn't kind of the same guy under that sort of relentless pressure that the Bucs brought.
Yep.
Steven?
Talk about this game, man. I mean, this game was just nobody on this show saw this coming. I mean, they were building this game. Oh, this is the great storyline. You got the young lion and Mahomes, 25 years old, won a Super Bowl last year at 24, not even 25, regular season MVP in 2018, throwing 50 touchdowns. The kid had a great season, and then he gets beat to shreds by this great Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. They had him just running for his life. And I got to say this too, right off. I forgot to mention this earlier during the show. The fact that he was able to get off a couple of those throws in that fourth quarter and kept on playing the game and did not give up. That right there shows that this kid has moxie and this guy has the guts to keep on playing despite when the game is not going your way. But man, talk about that game, because that defense was just, they looked like, honestly, they looked like the 0-2 Buccaneers shredding the Oakland Raiders in Super Bowl 37.
It's so interesting to watch Mahomes and then watch one of these quarterback coach guys who talk about, feet and where the toes are pointed and how you've got to come from here and all of this arm mechanic stuff. And then you watch Mahomes run left, throw right, run right, throw left. He adheres to none of that stuff where it comes to like fundamental quarterback football arm slot kind of ideology. He just goes and plays. And he almost, you mentioned it. I can think of 3 throws right off the top of my head in the last 6 minutes where I didn't think he had a chance and he just kind of winged it and it hit his receiver in the hands. That's unbelievable. It wasn't enough. They didn't score a touchdown, but it sure was fun to watch late when we really didn't have anything else to do.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the things we were talking about were some of the penalties that were called that were blatantly obvious should have never have even been called. How'd you feel?
That's kind of always the case, and it sort of depends upon the crew. We see it all year. I mean, if you watch a specific team throughout the year and you see different crews come in some games, they're relentless about calling DPIs. In other games, they let a lot of hand-to-hand combat go. In some games, they let guys straight up body each other all over the field. Sometimes you got holds, sometimes they're not holds. It all depends on the crew. And so, that's an important part of scouting for NFL teams is evaluating that officiating crew and knowing what the tendencies are for all of those guys and what they might be able to get away with. That's That's a critical key in game prep these days. And I think that's kind of a shame because you don't really know what to expect. You're not playing the same game week to week.
Right. Yeah, because one of the biggest penalties I basically went on a little rant about was Tom Brady threw 10 yards in front of the receiver and they call a pass interference. It's like, come on, the guy's got no chance at all. You still call a pass interference? That's just blatant, I'd say, disregard to the game.
Yeah, I would agree. I think officiating has to become more, it's got to become more regular. It's got to become more predictable. One call in one game or one call in one quarter has to be the same call in the other. And I think replay has done this to us. Replay has put the officials, and this is true in basketball and baseball too. Replay has put the officials in a place where they're going to be second guessed. And so what they're going to try to do is call the game by the book instead of by the feel of the game. And the result of that is that they get graded down by calling based upon feel instead of by what the rule book says. They're trying to become more consistent through instant replay and through that grading. And what they're really creating is kind of a monstrosity of officiating that just doesn't work for me.
Right. Well, also too, one of the other penalties that should never even been called was when the Kansas City chief tripped on his own feet as he's going down, barely touched the receiver,
Like Evans.
and they call a pass interference. It's like, really? You even heard the broadcaster say that should not have even been called.
And I think you get that. There's a big game-itis, too, with officiating. They know that, 100 million people in the United States are watching in that moment and that they're, this is kind of their time to shine. They don't want to screw up a game. And, I mean, you guys played sports. When you try not to screw up, that's usually the time that you perform at your worst. And I think that happens a lot of the time in the NFL and baseball, too. You see a lot of guys make Don Denkinger, right, in the 85 World Series. Worst call, like in the history of baseball. That was a big moment. The play, who is it, Jim Joyce, right, making the call that ruined the guy's perfect game. Same deal, I think you get big game-itis, big moment-itis when you're an official.
Right. And also, too, talk about, switching gears for a quick second to the NBA in the 2018 finals with the Warriors and the Cavaliers. LeBron and Durant were on the other side of the paint. LeBron's driving to the basket, and Durant's not even close near LeBron to draw the charge. And the referee still calls the charge on LeBron. That really made me mad during that. Just a quick side note, the officiating put their stamp on that game, and that game was a close game the entire game, basically.
Yeah, and that's what happens, right? You kind of get caught up in the moment. And when you talk to these guys offline, they do get caught up in the moment. They know it's a big moment, and they're trying their best to do the right thing. And when you're in your head throughout that kind of the course of your what should be something you do by rote, and you're questioning yourself with every call, the likelihood is that's when you're going to screw up.
Right. Mark?
Yeah. Hey, Kent, how are you doing out there?
Doing good.
Yeah, there's a Super Bowl. I made this hot take about the Chiefs that I believe I saw the self-destruction of the Chiefs on Sunday because, well, take a look. I don't think they could have hold up against that defensive line of the Bucks, and they really got to Mahomes bad.
Yeah, the JPP was awesome, wasn't he?
He was. Now he has a second ring.
Yeah, he does. And, we tend to hype people up, right? I mean, you watch ESPN, you watch Greeny on Get Up, and what do you get? You get the hype machine because Greeny believes what he's previously seen. Yeah. And so, the last time we saw the Chiefs play in a Super Bowl, they were awesome. And they won rings and they won the Lombardi Trophy. And so we tend to believe that thing we last saw, but that's not the way it works in 2021. You've got to earn it again. And winning back-to-back Super Bowls is really, really tough.
Yeah. I mean, if Tampa Bay wins one more Super Bowl, JPP will have enough for his entire hand. He only has 3 fingers.
Once again.
Tom Brady is going to need 2 more for his thumbs.
Right. Now,
Oh,
also
boy.
too, Kent, one of the things we all were in agreement on with the Chiefs was they really weren't there due to the fact of the incident that happened a few days before the Super Bowl involving Brett Reed, which was on the mind of everybody on that team. And as you know, this afternoon, they released him from being a part of the team. But do you feel that that was also on their mind, was the incident with the accident with the 5-year-old?
I really don't think so. I think that these guys are really well conditioned to ignore external things, and they go through stuff in their personal lives, the day before games, the weeks of games, and they find a way through that. I think it's just like, oh, that happened. Okay, let's go hit somebody. I don't think that it's like that they spent more than a minute thinking, oh man, that's too bad. I feel terrible for coach. How could that? Oh well, and then they just go on with their lives. These are guys. That's a Super Bowl. I don't think they're going to be derailed by a mistake that a linebackers or outside linebackers coach makes, even if it is the son of the head coach. And we can talk about that. How wise is that to hire your kid? You know what I mean? There's a lack of accountability that could come into play. There's a lack of, hey, I got to earn my bones with somebody else, and so you wind up maybe in a situation where you don't make the best of decisions. But I don't think it hampered the preparation. I don't think it hampered the execution. I think that the Bucs had a whole lot more to do with that than Britt Reed's decision.
Yeah. Okay.
Kent, we do take callers. Are you okay taking a call?
You broke up for a minute.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason my internet's not acting up for some reason. Are you okay taking a call? Because we do have one.
Yeah. Sure.
All right, we're gonna bring in one of our loyal listeners, Hijacker Mike. Hijacker, come on in. Yeah, I know you had a question.
How you guys doing today?
What's up,
Good.
bud?
What's up?
Doing all right. Hey, Ken, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Okay, well, we're fresh off the Super Bowl. The boys on the panel there know I'm a former Raiders fan because I'm 10 minutes from Oakland and my team left me for Las Vegas, and it's going to be tough to get out there to see them play games. But fresh off the Super Bowl, I wanted to ask you, since everybody did like the Tom Brady during the celebration, does that hurt his credibility coming out a little tipsy, a little drunk, and showing off having a good time after the game? Or is that okay Brady to see for NFL football going forward?
I think it's all right. He's a human being, and he had some fun. I mean, the guy just won his 7th Super Bowl. You don't want to see that behavior all the time. But, I mean, how many guys, I mean, you think back, you think about Namath, and you think about Jim McMahon, and you think about a lot of these guys enjoyed themselves and continue to enjoy themselves. Peyton Manning's another guy who it was never in public, but he enjoyed himself after a win. I don't have any problem with it. I think it's honest. He didn't drive, he didn't endanger others. If he had a little bit too much tequila, I got no problem with that. I'm not going to judge.
Yeah. Well, no, I know everybody wants to call him the GOAT, and I'll give him his respect. He grew up across the bridge from me out here. I was born and raised in Oakland. He was born and raised, I believe, in San Mateo, across on the peninsula side of the Bay Area. But, I give him his respects. But Jordan is still king of kings in my heart growing up, being a Warriors fan and basketball fan also as well. But I will give him his respect and call him the GOAT of football with having 7 championships. And thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely. But I'll tell you this. If I had to go get 7 with 90 seconds left in a game, would I rather have Tom Brady or Peyton Manning? I would rather have Peyton Manning.
Nice.
There's no doubt
Interesting.
that Brady is a better winner. If I had one game, I'm taking Brady. If I had one drive with 90 seconds left, I'm taking Manning.
Great.
That's
Thank you.
interesting.
Thank you.
Interesting. Ken, just wanted to ask you before we get back into the talk for a second. We're actually about to make a quick transition into NASCAR for a little bit. Do you want to stay on for that?
You know what? I got to tell you, fellas, I don't think that I would be of any use to you, given my my lack of NASCAR like expertise and knowledge. I like it. I go to the Brickyard 400 every year. I watch them run around in circles, but I have no real feel for the rivalries or the mechanics. I got to tell you the truth.
Okay. Hold on. We'll get to Joe in 1 second.
Yeah.
Ken, I know that you cover the Colts because I watch your morning videos, which by the way, they are great to watch.
Thank you.
I highly recommend anybody gets a chance, definitely see them. If it's your birthday, he also sends you a birthday shout out. He did it for me last year.
Nice.
It's true.
The Colts have been making some headway lately as far as in the quarterback department.
Yeah.
Is there any truth to them going after possibly Matt Ryan?
Well, there's Matt Ryan, there's Carson Wentz, there's Sam Darnold as three possible targets. I think that it's Wentz, Ryan, and then Darnold in order of likelihood. And I also think that I'd slot in there moving up in the draft and taking somebody that they feel real good about. The thing about Chris Ballard, who's the general manager of the Colts, is he plays his cards really close to his chest. Mm-hmm. I mean, he does not – he doesn't rely on Adam Schefter for information, and he doesn't share information with Adam Schefter. Mm-hmm. The Colts are a buttoned-up organization as long as Andrew Luck keeps his mouth shut and doesn't think he's going to retire. Other than that, they're pretty buttoned up. So when they do something, it's always a surprise. In Indianapolis media and national media, they got to make a move. They got Jacob Eason on the roster, and that's it.
So your GM is basically like Belichick.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and good for him. Yeah, I don't like all this national media stuff. I don't like guys giving Jay Glazer something or giving Schefter something or more that nobody else gets, and that the local guys who are in the room at the time those GMs make the call, they're left, out there having people ask them why they don't get to break the stories. It's because, and I was told this by a guy who runs a franchise. If you want to know who, let's say who what the Jets are going to do with that, with their pick, their second overall pick, mm-hmm. you call Schefter, and Schefter knows, and he tells you as long as you give him some information. And so it's kind of a two-way street, and that's how those guys earn those stories. They're brokers of information, and it's a two-way street. Ballard doesn't play that. So we get to guess, and we get to make stuff up and, hatch schemes. Dan Dockich on the radio today was talking about how the Colts should call Pete Carroll in Seattle and say, okay, we want Russell Wilson. How much? And so, that kind of gains gravity within media here. And then outside, the Matt Ryan stuff came from Dan. And I don't know where Dan got it, but Dan's usually pretty buttoned up in what he gets. If he's talking about it, generally he's got an idea and has somebody telling him something. But I don't know what they're going to do.
So, Ken, you're pretty much saying that the way they should be is like the movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Where it's just strictly them talking, and then when it's time to make that trade, then call it in.
You pull the trigger, and then you have the press conference. Mm-hmm. You don't have the press conference and then pull the trigger. You don't let Schefter know, 15 seconds after the deal's done. Yeah, I respect Ballard. And Ballard does another thing that I really, really like is he doesn't lie. He's been the general manager for 4 years, and we've got guys in the Colts media room who are going over almost constantly transcripts, trying to figure out if he's ever kind of, given us some level of deceit. And he's just never done it. He's an honest, straight up guy who does his job in the way he feels he ought to do it. And he shares information as he feels he ought to. And he doesn't lie about it and doesn't blow smoke up our ass. And we're really appreciative of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Kent, thank you so much.
Hopefully we can get you back on for a little bit more time.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure, fellas. Anytime.
Where can our listeners find you, and what do you have coming up this week for your show?
Everything is communicated on Twitter at Kent Sterling. You can go to my YouTube channel, which is Kent Sterling, and subscribe if you like. We do 2 videos a day generally, and one's in the morning at about 6 a.m. Eastern time, and then the other's about 4 in the afternoon. If any news breaks, we got it at once.
Absolutely. Kent, again, thank you so much for joining us. We'll definitely have you on again.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
John. Appreciate it. Thanks,
Thank you.
fellas.
Thank you, Kent.
You're good.
All right, guys, that was Kent Sterling hopping on for a little bit to talk some Super Bowl. But now
You want me to bring him in?
let's bring him in. Let's get
Guys, we're going to switch gears here. We're going to bring in our good friend Joe, and we're going to talk about NASCAR because we got the biggest race coming up on Sunday. As he's coming in, let him connect. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Oh, I
Greetings,
can't
Joe.
complain whatsoever. What the hell are you guys doing?
What's up?
We're having a great show here.
Oh, that's outstanding. All right, let me get my video started. You got see. This
So-
is what this is why whoever sets this thing up, you got to make sure that it adds everybody's cameras right to the start. That's how I get mine going.
So, Joe, as I was bringing you in, I mentioned that this Sunday is the biggest race of NASCAR season.
Yes, it is.
And
First
we would
race.
like you to talk about it.
Absolutely. First race of the year, the 2021 Daytona 500, coming to you from the 2.5-mile Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida. Gee, you wonder why we call it Daytona. That's the main reason why we call it just Daytona. It can encompass absolutely everything. And this race, the reason why they call it the biggest one is because it kicks off the NASCAR season, and it is at one of the fastest racetracks that is on the NASCAR circuit. The average speed that you will see is around 195 to 198 miles per hour per lap of all the competitors. Now, all of those competitors do a great. You only see this a couple times during the NASCAR season, but it's called draft racing. And what that means is that around at about 195 miles an hour, all these cars want to get as aerodynamic as possible. So you will see cars within about that far away from each other, riding up against each other at 200 miles an hour around that 200 for 200 laps at that 2.5-mile circuit over in Daytona. And it is the best race out of there. You always want to take a look for the big one, but you also want to take a look because a lot of the best drivers, that is an indication of how their season's going to be. Once you win the Daytona 500, the rest of your season is completely taken care of because you automatically qualify for the NASCAR playoffs for the chase for the NASCAR championship.
And also, too, on a side note to that, next Thursday will be the 20th anniversary of the Intimidators' last ride.
Yep, to 20 years. That's how long it's been since Dale Earnhardt Jr. was killed over in turn 4. Excuse me, senior. Thanks for correcting me. You do that a lot. Thanks. But when you look back on it 20 years from the sport right now, his son has actually gone ahead and retired, and there is a new crop of drivers that are out there that are driving right now, to include the number one most popular driver. His name is Chase Elliott. He is defending NASCAR Cup champion, won it over in 2020, and his teammates over at Hendrick Motorsports, Alex Bowman and William Byron, well, they're going to be starting at the front row as their qualifying times yesterday got them number 1 and number 2. In fact, they will be on the front row. And then the great thing about the Daytona 500 too is because it's not based off of just qualifying speeds alone. No, what they're doing right now is they are actually driving the Blue Green Vacation Duel at Daytona, which is a 150-mile race. And starting at the poles are Alex Bowman on race 1, and race 2 is William Byron. But as the results of that race, that will set the starting lineup for this Sunday's Daytona 500. And that race is actually happening right now, just off of this last one, still in the lead, and about 1 lap to go. Eric Almirola has the lead, trailing by Joey Logano, Christopher Bell in third, Denny Hamlin, who was the runner-up last year of the NASCAR Cup Series Championship. He's in fourth, and And the story from last year's Daytona 500, in one of the final laps, Ryan Newman got into an unbelievable accident, was hit midair, and brought the race to a dead standstill for a while. A couple days later, he was released out of the hospital miraculously. But he right now is in the 5th position. Oh, wait, now he just got bumped back all the way to the draft. So right now on the leaderboard, the leader, 60 laps total, Eric Almirola, riding out of Tony Stewart Motorsports. He is right now the leader, with Christopher Bell, who runs for Joe Gibbs Racing, over in second, and the first of both of the Daytona 150 duels that will set that other one. The other race is going to be coming up here within about another 30 minutes or so. So it's going to be a great one out there. And, for NASCAR, it's not just the Cup Series that is also racing. Now, there's also other sanctioned series that NASCAR runs. You have the Cup, which is where all the big drivers come from, where the heaviest machine and the fastest machine is, which is that Cup car. But you also have what is called the Sprint car, and that was actually, I believe it's now called the Xfinity car series.
I believe so, yes.
Yes, so the Xfinity series, there is that kind of that junior division where the up and coming racers, you're going to see them practice and get their lap times in and get a drive of the car and how fast to drive. That'll actually be taking place on Saturday. And then this Friday, you're going to actually see the NASCAR Truck Series go ahead and kick off the entire racing season during these for the laps. They're going to be running their opening race this Friday evening over at Daytona as well. So Speed Weeks is now in full effect, and it's going all the way from 0 to 200, just like that. So here we go. It's going to be a great NASCAR season.
Joe, real quick, do you want to touch on the incident with Kyle Larson from last year?
Yeah, a little bit about that. So I made a mention earlier that Kyle Larson, he's also one of the 4 drivers that are part of Team Hendrick. He is going to be racing the number 5. That number 5 was the number 88 car last year. And that 88 car, Alex Bowman, has now gone to the 48 of Jimmy Johnson, who retired at the end of the year. But the 88 changed back to the 5, the original number of the Hendrick car. And that was picked up by Kyle Larson. Now, Kyle Larson last year during the iRacing series was suspended for using a racial slur on air to one of his crew members. He was suspended by Chip Ganassi Racing last season, and he's basically sat out the entire year. Now, a team like Hendrick Autosports has the reputation. We'll call them the New York Yankees of NASCAR. They have that reputation that they can shape somebody, and that their professionalism is the reason why that they're able to go. Kyle Larson going there has now gotten a second chance in order to prove himself. And so far with the car, that's what we're looking on right there for his performance and how we're going to judge him on the season. He's going to get used to this Hendrick machine. He's a Chevy guy, but he's been welcomed back into the NASCAR locker room. He's made his amends with the African-American drivers and the African-Americans that are part of NASCAR, to include his good friend, Bubba Wallace. And I'll talk to him about him here in a minute. But Kyle Larson is back right now. He is driving. Some people say that, he should have never driven again. Some people say you got to give people other chances and let them repent. I'm more on the repention side, and I'm hoping that Kyle Larson does right by himself, for his teammates, for Mr. Hendrick, as well as for Chevy cars out there for racing, because Chevy has been his car since he's started racing out here. And I mentioned Bubba Wallace, and that brings us to something that I'll try to close with this year about the 2021 NASCAR season. A new entry and a new owner for NASCAR has come into the mix, and that is the number 23 car of X3 Racing, or X2, or double XL, whatever the hell it is, double X3 Racing. And that is the number 23 car. That is actually 23XI. That's 23XI because that is 23 of the Roman numeral 11, which is the owners. The owners of the 23XI team are Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin, the runner-up for the 2021 NASCAR Cup Series. So they both got together this offseason. They've been friends for a while, and they formed a new racing team, signing Bubba Wallace, formerly of Richard Petty Motorsports, in the number 43 car, and the only African-American driver on the NASCAR Cup circuit to drive the number 23 for the foreseeable future for Team 23XI. And this is obviously big because Michael Jordan is, obviously, as we know, the greatest basketball player that has ever lived. He is also the owner of the Charlotte Hornets. So now he's got two professional sports teams that he is an owner of. And as this first foray into NASCAR, it is bringing some money, it's bringing some attention, and it's bringing sponsors. But it's up to Bubba Wallace, whose car is actually part of Joe Gibbs Racing's technical lines. So they're getting all those cars run by Denny Hamlin, the great Kyle Busch, and the 20 of Eric Jones that we just saw that would play second in the duel. That same type of car is going to be over there at Team 23XI. So Bubba Wallace is going to have some good Joe Gibbs equipment to run on these races, better than the Richard Petty Motorsports cars that he had the last several seasons. I'd like to see that mix of that talent go together with a great machine, and hopefully he can put that 23 into victory lane sometime during the 2021 season.
Awesome.
All right.
You
Anything
have
else, guys?
All right.
All right, good. So for everybody else out of here, John Blaine, go fuck yourself.
Ah.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, that's gonna be fun to hear about that one later. But yeah, no, Daytona 500 is this Sunday. I kind of stayed back on that one because I don't know a lot about NASCAR.
I know somewhat. I haven't watched in the last 5 years of NASCAR. Unfortunately, my driver retired, which was the number 88, which was Dale Earnhardt Jr. My first original race driver that I followed the most. The old man, the intimidator, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
And
so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to just go into a couple of little headlines from each little sport here, like football, basketball, baseball, hockey. I'm going to start with college football here. So one of the top headlines, former Clemson linebacker Mike Jones Jr. announces he's transferring to LSU. That's going to be a big pickup for LSU if that goes through. Maryland football linebacker Chance Campbell transferring to Ole Miss Rebels. That's another big pickup for them. All these transfers are real big pickups for the schools that they're going to. The only question is are they eligible to play this year or not? It all determines how their classes are, their grades.
Yeah.
Because grades matter.
Correct. Terry Maraja is leaving Arkansas State to become the athletic director at UCF. That's a big pickup for them. So that's just college football there, guys. Going into NHL. So this is one of the big things here. The Phoenix Coyotes fired Steve Sullivan as assistant general manager. They're not seeking a replacement for him.
Did they give a reason why they?
I can pull that right up for you. No details.
That's interesting. Middle of the season like that.
Yep.
Just to, I mean, I don't follow hockey that much, so it has to be something. It has to be something on the fact of how they're performing this year.
Right.
Which
now, here's another big announcement. I shouldn't say announcement, but this is kind of big. The Minnesota Wild, they haven't been able to do team activities for a while. They got cleared by the NHL to return to team activities following COVID-related pause. It seemed that they had an issue with the with some COVID-related issues. So they just got the release saying, all right, you guys can go back to your team activities, which is big for them.
Just to cut you off
Go
for
ahead.
1 second. I just looked up. You said it was Arizona that they fired their assistant general manager.
No, Phoenix.
Coyotes.
Coyotes. Well,
Coyotes.
they're Arizona because
Yeah.
right. I'm looking at their record right now. In 12 games, they're 6-5-1
Yikes.
with 13 points.
That is not good.
No.
Right
Here's
now, they
ahead.
are actually they're in the top 4 right now. The only
Correct.
3 teams ahead of them right now are Colorado, St. Louis, and Vegas.
Also, too, here's a big game that is going to shock everybody. And it's a rivalry game to begin with.
Mhm.
The Philadelphia Flyers game against the New York Rangers has been postponed for Sunday's matchup. So it's on the COVID-19 list, protocol list.
Mhm.
It's because they're supposed to be playing in it's in Philadelphia, but the problem is 3 of their players, including their captain, are the ones that are on the list. So because of them being on the list, the COVID-19 list, they have to postpone the game.
Interesting.
No.
Correct.
What else we got as far as basketball, baseball? What else we got?
Well,
I'll get into that one, brother. I'll get into that. So going over to baseball, since baseball is starting up soon, guys, as we all know. One of the biggest things that people don't remember or tend to forget is baseball was not strictly a national thing. You had what was called the Negro League. And back in December, the Negro League was actually overlooked by previous administrations of MLB to be recognized as major league teams. Well, back in December, it was kind of reversed where, okay, yes, they can be. So now these 6 leagues are actually being considered for major league recognition. And they are the Negro League National League 1, which was 1920 to 1931, National League 2 from 1933 to 1948, the Negro American League from 1937 to 1948, Eastern Colored League from 1923 to 1928, American League Negro League from 1929, East-West League from 1932, and Negro Southern League from 1932. Now, a lot of times people don't realize a lot of your major league players back in the 50s and 60s came from the Negro Leagues, including the groundbreaker Jackie Robinson came from the Negro Leagues. You also had an amazing pitcher. Satchel Paige was with the Negro League.
Mhm.
So this is all being considered now for major league status. We also have here Minnesota Twins brought back Nelson Cruz. They asked for he's entering his 17th season. They asked him if he's retiring, and he goes, it's not even on his mind. The Red Sox, Kansas City, and the Mets all had a 3-way trade last night. So, and this got a lot of people in the Red Sox nation PO'd. So the Boston Red Sox sent Andrew Benintendi to the Kansas City Royals. That also included the New York Mets. So the Red Sox traded to the Royals Benintendi. The Red Sox are getting Frenchie Cardona, who is a minor leaguer, plus 2 players to be named later.
Okay.
They are also receiving from the Mets minor league right-handed pitcher Josh Winsky and a player to be named later from the Mets. The Mets are also receiving outfielder prospect Lee from the Royals.
Supposedly he's
those-
a top 10 prospect from what I read.
Right. So that's just some of the big things in baseball. Getting over to the NBA. Sorry, guys. The Raptors, they're going to finish their home game in Tampa. They're going to finish the season in Tampa this year. Let's see what else. Oh, the biggest news out of the NBA. Mavericks owner Mark Cuban with the national anthem. He says he did not cancel the anthem. It was an ongoing topic. So it'll be interesting to see if they still play it. It's an ongoing dialogue with the community right now. Thank you. Getting over to the NFL. As you know, the season's over now since we had the Super Bowl on Sunday. So this is kind of what has happened since that. Unfortunately, the golden child needs to have minor knee surgery. Some of our Raider fans are not going to be happy, but they plan to cut their receiver Williams. It seems that they just decided that's it. He missed last season because of a torn labrum in his shoulder that he suffered in training camp. So he missed the entire season, and they're just going, bye-bye.
You're done. Sorry, you're good. You're done. Bye.
Yeah. Correct. Here's another big one. The training site EXOs to simulate the
Combine?
Thank you. Combine for the NFL draft prospects with the 2-day event. So I'm not even sure how this is going to be going. Instead of, I guess, them all going to be there, they're going to stimulate it with them working out at home or whatever.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, I know they said
Interesting.
that. I know they said one. Trevor Lawrence. They said already will have his own private one
Right.
because he's the
Right.
big name coming out of Clemson this year.
Right.
So also a big story that came out of the season towards the end of the season was Seahawks offensive line Wheeler. He got into some trouble with the law.
Oh, boy.
It was involving his domestic violence case. He's no longer with the team, but they moved his case back to June 1st. It's actually going to be, it was originally set for April 6th, but it's actually going to be moved and it's going to trial since it's considered a first-degree offense.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yowza.
Jeez.
That wasn't a smart thing for
No.
him to do.
And it was actually done on the 22nd of January because he's accused of twice choking his ex-girlfriend into unconsciousness on the 22nd.
Oh yeah, I know exactly who you're talking
Oh,
about.
that's right. Yeah,
about that guy.
Right.
So that's what we have going there. And then again, like I said, we have the big thing with NASCAR coming up on Sunday. And that's about it that I have, guys.
All right. Well, I know there's other stuff we want to get to, Gloomy.
Oh, yes.
Show's far from over right now.
Clearly.
But one thing, Carl, that you didn't get a chance to mention, especially with hockey stuff, for New York, I know this was announced for, because I know we have some fans of ours in the New York area.
I figured I'd leave that one for you, John, because that's a big area for both you and I.
Governor Cuomo announced the end of February, I think February 23rd
Yes.
is when he's going to allow this, but he's going to allow small amount of people to attend sporting events, which means the Yankees, the Mets, the Knicks, the Nets, every sports team in New York will have 10% of their fans as of the 23rd. That's why it was also announced through the Twitter account of the Islanders, I think it is,
Mhm.
the Islanders, that any games that gets postponed because of COVID will get made up after the 23rd, so they can have fans there.
Correct. Also, too,
Okay.
in Jersey, Governor Murphy here in Jersey also raised it from 25% to 35% capacity.
Ooh.
Nice. But we're starting to see now a return to normalcy in the
Especially with the-
slow stages.
Right, because a lot more people have been vaccinated with the COVID vaccine.
Mhm.
So, with that going on, yes, it's slowly starting to come back to normalcy. But just again, folks, do your diligence to keep your 6 feet distance. Wear your damn masks.
A lot of us in the elite got our masks.
Yes.
Yeah, from some guy.
But I know there's one baseball story I want to get to because, man, this one caused a lot of stir up in the New York area. If people are not familiar, Trevor Bauer, great pitcher, great pitcher, great pitcher. Wish he would fall off a cliff, is what some Met fans were saying, but I'll get to why they said that. He was a free agent this offseason. And basically, it came down to the Mets and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, I bring this up because this guy was probably the first person I can think of to use social media towards his advantage. He kept teasing. He kept putting on his website, a signed Met hat. Then he would pull it. Then it would be a signed Dodgers hat. And he would pull it. So nobody knew where he was going. You guys want to take a guess where he ended up going?
The Dodgers.
Yep. Because that guy, or as I call him, Mr. No Balls, decided.
Or John, as a fellow caller on Daniel McCartan show's past Saturday, called him not Trevor, but him, wait for it, Troller.
Because here's my thing. He went to a team that he's basically going to be the third starter in the rotation. David Price, who was the ace for Boston and the ace in Tampa Bay for a number of years, is their fourth starter. He went to a team that was loaded.
Okay, John, I'm going to cut you off right there for a split second because that is one thing that drives me up the walls. Why do you sports players from across the board in the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, all across the leagues, the reason why you players that think you're all that in a bag of chips because you can take the easy way out by going to a team that is loaded like a baked potato, and you think that you can go to these teams and, I can win a championship that way. Why can't you be like Michael Jordan? Why can't you be like Kobe Bryant? Why can't you be like Larry Bird? Why can't you be like the great Joe Montana? Why can't you be, like those players? Why can't you be like Peyton Manning, Brett Favre? And I'll even say these two people, Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes, because these guys aren't a bunch of cowards. They're going to cower their way to a championship, like in the NBA, like Kevin Durant did 5 years ago. That took the fun out of the NBA for me because he was winning championships with the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors did not need Durant. Durant needed the Warriors because he got beat fair and square in the Western Conference Finals. What the hell does Trevor need the fucking Dodgers to win a World Series?
Because
he doesn't need nobody.
Because Steven,
Oh boy.
the little, I was going to use a different word, but I want to be polite here.
Little shit.
Yeah, we'll go with that one. I was thinking of the other word that, but we'll use that for the unrated version of the show.
There is no unrated.
Okay, screw it, I'll just say it. That dumbass couldn't handle the New York media and decided to take his little balls and his little tail and run to Los Angeles. All I'm going to tell you this, Trevor, and I hope you're watching me. Yeah. August 13th, it'll be your worst nightmare. It's the first trip you guys have to Citi Field all season. You better hope to God that, let me put my glasses on so at least looks. You better hope to God that Met fans are not in the stadium, because you think a lot of other people get booed in New York. You don't know what's going to be like when you come to New York.
The moment he steps foot on that field, he is going to feel the wrath of a New York crowd. You thought Vince Carter going to Toronto was bad? Oh no, my friends. You thought Tom Brady going back to, when he goes back to New England and plays, how bad that's going to be? Also, too, what about when LeBron went back to Cleveland in 2010? Yeah, exactly. He got the bejesus boot out of him.
Exactly. But this is my thing, though, Trevor. You couldn't grow a set of testicles to save yourself right now. You are nothing. I hope to God, when you pitch for Los Angeles next year, I hope to God you have a 4.50 ERA, have like 9 wins and 18 losses, and absolutely suck. Wow, that felt good.
My God, we are getting a lot of this stuff out of our system tonight. Yeah. That's what kills me with this guy. This guy, I got to give the guy credit for one thing. For one thing, he used social media to his full advantage by teasing the fans. I got to give him that. But at the same time, you go to Los Angeles and you take the easy way out to try to win a World Series because the Los Angeles Dodgers, at their 33 years, finally, or at that time, 32 years, they finally won the big series when they couldn't get it done in the first place. So yeah, Trevor, or in this case, Troller, thank you to the caller who called into Danielle's show on WFAN Saturday night. You will now be known not as Trevor, but as Troller.
But this is my thing. You basically, David Price, like I said, David Price is their 4th starter. Basically, he went there because, they'll hand me a freaking ring. You are not, yes, you had one good year, but let's call a spade here for a second. You didn't have a full season last year. What they have, only 60 games?
Yeah.
Last year? To me, if he did that in a regular season, in a regular 162 game schedule, okay, fine, I'll give him all the credit in the world. He did that in a shortened season, people. To me, if I had a decision to make, going past, the last couple of Cy Young Award winners, with Jacob deGrom and Trevor Bauer, I would take deGrom over Bauer any day of the week. Not only that, I would also take him over Bauer in the fact that Jacob deGrom has proven himself in the regular fucking season.
Right.
Yeah, the guy's ERA is fantastic, and the Mets may not give him any run support, but this guy has won 2 Cy Young Awards in a complete seasons. Trevor Bauer won 1 because of the 60-game schedule. You know what? Hold on.
So basically what you're saying, John, is his 60-game plus season with this Cy Young win did not mean nothing.
Hold on. I want to pull up something. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second here, because 1 second here. But this is my thing with him. Bauer, yes. Last year he pitched great. I'm not taking that away from him. But again, it was only 1 season.
Right.
Okay, hold on. This is what I was trying to find. I was trying to find his pitching stats for his career. Do you want to take us how many wins, what his win-loss record is in 205 games that he's pitched?
Probably 0-5.
No, he's won some games.
I'll take a guess. Is it double digits?
Yeah.
Okay. I will say 17.
You're way off on 17.
Okay, way off. Okay.
You want me to just tell you?
Yes.
Yeah.
In 205 games, this is his career stats. He has a record of 75 and 64, has an ERA of 3.90, has pitched over 1,000 innings, has 1,279 strikeouts, and has a WHIP of 1.26.
He sucks.
Good.
You want to
God.
tell me? Hold on. Let me go to.
And
He's
John,
almost got as many losses as he does wins.
how much money did they pay this guy?
Give me a second. It was some ridiculous amount.
Well, you know what? But I'll say this: regardless to that, he is overrated.
The deal he signed was a 3-year deal worth $102 million.
$102 million for that?
But
What
yet,
the hell has he done?
nothing. But then here's the funny thing, though.
Nothing.
Here's the funny thing, though.
Absolutely nothing.
Okay, but here's the thing, though. Jacob deGrom, who's won multiple Cy Young awards, is probably one of the best pitchers in the National League right now. He has his you know how much he's making? How much his contract's worth?
Probably less.
Who?
Jacob deGrom.
Oh, he's just like 95 million or something.
That's what I was
Like
going
that?
to say. It's probably less money.
What?
He's more.
What?
$137.5 million. But he's worth it.
Yeah.
He's worth every penny of it. And let's also say this, by the way. DeGrom may go down as one of the first Mets to play his entire career on the Mets.
Yeah.
You know who the last one was? The last Met player to play his entire career on the Mets?
Wasn't it Howard Johnson?
No.
Who?
Ed Kranepool
Wow.
was the last.
Wow, you're
Met.
going back to the 70s, dude.
Jesus, John.
Look,
I mean, wow.
Hold on. Gary Carter, Keith Hernandez, Dwight Gooden,
Yeah.
Darryl Strawberry,
86
Mike
World Series
fucking
Mets.
Piazza. Mike fucking Piazza.
My God, how pathetic can that get? Then the Mets in 86.
What team did they beat?
The Red
Oh,
Sox.
shit. Red Sox.
Yep. What play was it that turned the game?
Oh, between the legs.
Bill Buckner.
Fucking Buckner.
Buckner. The ball between the legs.
But this is my thing, though. And by the way, this is going to be the rant of the week, by the way. I'm calling this right now. The fact that the New York Mets were even in consideration for Bauer because he had one good fucking season is ridiculous. But let's also mention this part with the New York Mets. They went after George Springer. He ended up in Toronto.
Yeah.
They went after, who was the other big name that they went after and ended up falling? Every big name person this offseason, because they said it on one of the radio shows I listened to, the Mets offered 3 of the top guys, I think 4, but 3 confirmed. One of them was not confirmed. Over $100 million.
John, you know what? I'll say this too. The New York Mets are desperate.
Oh, they're desperate, right? Look at their front office.
I don't know if they're being desperate is the right way to put it. I just think their mentality is they got the new owner in Steve Cohen, and they figure, okay, Steve Cohen has a lot of money to play with. Let's go have some fun. But the problem is, and this is going to become an issue real quick in New York, if he doesn't provide a winning team, Met fans are going to revolt. I can sense it already. When you had 3 guys, including the catcher for the Phillies and JT Realmuto, who ended up signing a $115 million deal with Philly, and none of them came to the Mets, and don't get me wrong, yes, the Mets had great signings this offseason with Francisco Lindor. They got pieces.
Yep.
But pieces aren't going to get you to a fucking World Series here. You have to get that star. And yes, you have Pete Alonso. Great. He's one player. Look at and I know people hate when the comparison game comes into play here, but look at the New York Yankees right now. Look at how many stars they have on that team.
Yep.
Because stars are what's going to get you to the promised land. Stars are what's going to help you.
Wow.
Oof.
You want to go on and rant about the front office?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm speaking right now. Hold on. Let me see something here. Hold
Oh
on.
boy, here we go.
Okay. Damn it. Wrong one. Never mind. Hold on. Hold on.
I love getting him going.
Come on. Come on.
The New York Mets hired a general manager this offseason who decided, oh, let's go send 62 text messages to a woman. And then, oh, she didn't respond after 62 times. Oh, let's send her a picture of my junk. Now, I think it's ridiculous. I think it's the thing with what the Mets have fucking done with hiring. I know they got rid of him after a certain amount of days. I understand that. But the fact that they even hired this guy without doing any research on him is ridiculous. It's stupid and it's moronic.
Tell us how you really feel.
Wow,
I think
Johnny. Wow.
Hey, you
Wow.
know what? You want to know who's also moronic? Derek Rhodes.
No way.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, thank God. Thank you brought that up for me. Thank you. It was announced announced earlier this week that the New York Knicks have acquired Derek Rose for Dennis Smith Jr. Now, okay, fine. Derek Rose in his first run with the team didn't pan out too well.
John, I'd also throw this out here too. No offense to Mr. Derek Rhodes, but what has he done since his MVP season?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Holy crap.
Except get injured. It took me composing you from a New York Mets rant to get you back on the track with the pathetic Knickerbockers, because I think that, oh, Derek Rhodes is the saving grace of his team. No, he's not. He hasn't done nothing. He went to Cleveland with LeBron and didn't do nothing. He went to the Knicks for the first time, didn't do jack squat. He hasn't done nothing since his glorious days with the Chicago Bulls.
And no offense, LeBron James ain't shit. In my opinion, LeBron's ain't shit because if he doesn't win a ring in that city, he moves on to the next one. Doesn't win, he moves on to the next one. And he thinks he's better than Jordan. My ass.
Okay, I think the new title for this episode, we're not going to call it the fallout from Super Bowl 55. We're just going to call 4 people blowing off a lot of steam.
The simple fact that you got all these players in the New York area and the New York region, when it comes to these owners, they think that because they got a crap ton of money, the fact that they can do whatever the hell they want and spend a boatload of freaking cash, and it's not going to get you nothing. What does sports have to have? It's not because of a superstar. It's team. T-E-A-M. Not you, not me, and not all of the people. Team.
Well, no, hold on. Your fans dictate how much you're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
Because if your fans do not show up at games because of fucking moves you guys make, then guess what? Get rid of that fucking player.
Yep. The simple fact that you have moronic people running these organizations.
3, 2, 1. Go ahead, John.
It's ridiculous.
John, go ahead. Do your rant.
When it comes to here's the issue that I think people are also forgetting. New Yorkers are nuts. I'll be the first one to say it. When you talk to New York sports fans, we are psychotic to a T. Because the problem is, we're of the mentality, you know how we always say on the show, what have you done for me lately?
Yep.
That's what it's like being a New York sports fan here. You look at the four New York sports, the four sports in the New York teams. The Rangers haven't been to a Stanley Cup since 2015 when they lost to the Los Angeles Kings. The Islanders haven't been to the Cup final since 82, I think was their last go around.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gives a crap about the Devils.
The
No
Knicks,
offense.
the Knicks haven't been to the finals since
I'm not a Devils
1999. The Knicks haven't been to the finals since '99. They haven't made a playoff.
Brooklyn
run.
hasn't been to the final. Well, hold on. Brooklyn/New Jersey, because you have to include Jersey into this.
Yep.
They haven't been to the final since 02?
Three.
03?
3. When they were known as the New Jersey Nets.
When they got
Yeah.
beat, when they got beat
By San Antonio.
by San Antonio in 6 games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The Giants haven't been to a Super Bowl since 2011 when they beat Tom Brady, pretty boy himself.
Helmet catch.
The Jets, well, most of us weren't alive when the Jets won their last one. Maybe Elder Mike was.
I mean, hold on. One thing I got to say about the Jets, they did make it to the playoff, to the semifinal. They made it to the divisional game.
In 09 and 2010 against
It was
against
the
the Colts. Yeah, against the Colts and the Steelers.
The last
And-
game was against the Colts, and they lost.
And then, hold on.
Because I knew somebody at that game.
Then the Yankees haven't been to a World Series since 09. The Mets have been to a World Series since 2000. So realistically, it's been 10 years since any New York team has made it
Wait,
to a
John,
championship.
John, I'll
game.
make a correction.
John, hold it.
I'll make a correction. 2015,
2015, yeah.
Hold the phone.
Kansas City Royals.
I forgot about that one.
John, you're only talking about New York City teams, not the whole state of New York.
Well, who cares about Buffalo? They're not even playing.
Hold it. But when you say New York, you got to include Buffalo because that's part of the state.
Okay. Buffalo. Hold on, Steve Wonder. Buffalo.
Okay, I got him going. Okay, all right.
Buffalo made it to 4 Super Bowls in the late 80s, early 90s. I lost all 4 of them. Okay, so then do we
But they
include
made it to the Super Bowls more
Okay.
than the friggin' Jets and Giants.
Okay, do we mention the Buffalo Sabres too? 'Cause
Yes.
they're also, I can't remember the last time they ever made it to anything past the playing golf during the playoff time. But my point is this: when it comes to New York sports fans, I have a lot of aggression in me right now. Plus, I think I'm not going
God,
to.
I think that's what happens when you shovel snow during a freaking blizzard. Not once, but a couple of times. But I digress.
This is why whoever wins that next championship in New York will be cemented as like the greatest thing since sliced fucking bread.
You know what? I think you're starting to feel Hijacker's pain right now. Hijacker doesn't have a football team to stand on and support because his Raiders had to go to Viva Las Vegas.
I know we went on such a freaking tangent right now, but I just had to get that out of me.
No, you're good because the moment you brought up New York and then brought up the pathetic Mets and the fact that this idiot Trevor or Troller, thank you very much, goes to the Dodgers because he thinks that he can win a World Series off the easy way. No, I'm sorry.
I think that rant's gonna be like a 25-minute rant.
Yeah, basically.
Oof. I mean, I have a voice come tonight. Thanks,
Anybody
Carl.
in our Discord want to interrupt or add to us? Please let us know.
Before we actually, you know what? I'll make the announcement of who we're interviewing tomorrow at the end of the show.
Ooh, that's
Good
called
boy.
a teaser.
Interesting.
We actually have a comment on Discord.
Okay.
Kevin in Massachusetts says Buffalo Sabres made it to the Stanley Cup's final in '99 against the Dallas Stars. Was the famed no goal game, since the rules at the time prohibited players from scoring within the goalie crease. And the replay showed a Dallas player was in the crease when he scored the overtime goal.
Okay, I think
I
it's safe to
totally
say-
forgot about that game.
I think it's safe to say that
Wow.
Kevin from Massachusetts is going to become our statistician for the show.
Yeah, because you know how all the sports broadcast teams that have that stat guy there in the booth with them. Yeah,
That's
our
ours.
that's our guy.
Kevin,
Kevin,
you've been hired. Congratulations. You're on the payroll now.
Hey, you
But-
know what? I have more faith in Kevin in Massachusetts than I have in the fucking Mets to make a fucking right move.
Jesus, I don't even know where we're going now.
You know what? I would make the argument that the New York Mets are the worst ran organization in any North American sport right now.
Hold on. Stevie Wonder, hold on. You can't say they're the one of the worst. Have you seen who plays at the Madison Square Garden?
Oh, geez, I wonder. The Knicks?
I'm sorry. If I had the option of taking Dolan or Cohen, I'm taking Cohen. Because to me, Dolan is nothing more than an
Yes! Yes! Tell us how you really feel, John.
Oh, yes.
oh shit.
Let
Oh,
it
boy.
out, my child.
Yes, let the evil flow through you. Let the hate.
I guess
Come to the dark side.
I guess this is what happens when you have a lot of pent up aggression and you have nobody to take it out on.
You got
So
the
what do
snow
you-
outside.
So,
Thanks,
Well,
jackass.
well, he broke a snow shovel, but I digress.
I was gonna say, can we wait for the rant to bring up all my stupidity?
No, because that's what happens when you take your frustrations out because you were shoveling all week. But
Jesus.
yeah, the Knicks.
Real
Oh
quick, our
my
stat guy said he's out for now, but he's like, you guys are welcome. Stat dude out for now.
Okay. Okay. Believe me, Kevin, we'll need you again,
Thanks,
probably.
Kev. You know,
But oh my god.
but the simple fact that we bring up the New York part of this show because we were going to get to that, and the moment we bring that up, that's when you go off on a 20+ minute tangent because the New York sports region is pathetic.
Let me ask you this: compared to your rant, how was it?
You know what?
Eh.
You're better than me on mine. You know why? Because you live in a city that has a bunch of stupid owners that don't know what the hell they're doing. Okay, moving on. Enough about New York.
Yeah, because I think I think in a second I'm gonna have a Don LaGreca moment, and
But-
if you listen to the Michael K show, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh, correct. But I kind of want to switch gears a little bit to kind of get your nerves calm just a little teeny tiny bit. What do you think as far as with the offseason this year in the NFL, as far as with these moves that have been made so far, like Matthew Stafford going to the Rams?
Stupid and moronic.
Yes.
Time will only tell. That's the only way I can look at it right now is time's only going to turn around and tell us how things go. Got to look at the preseason. That's it.
Oh, let me pull up quickly what moves have been done already. So then, we can look at some of the bigger moves.
I said that I thought the Stafford move to LA was a dumb move.
Mhm.
And it was a lose-lose for both teams. And then Danielle argued that Detroit won because they got the draft picks. And yes, I can agree to that. But at the same time, it's going to take both of these teams even more years to find their next starting quarterback because
All right, here's a big one for you. Not even a trade. Cleveland had a great season this year.
yes.
How do you think they're going to do next year?
Oh man, now that is the big one because
I know we're going to have one guy argue with us, but
Kevin
you gotta ask.
Stefanski had a great season coaching Cleveland this year. I think if Cleveland plays their cards right, and I believe that they need to get rid of OBJ because they clearly do not need him because they clearly play better without him than with him. Statistics
he
say
needs to
that.
retire to begin with.
And I'll say
He's
this
the
right
joke
now.
of the league.
Odell Beckham Jr. is the most overrated wide receiver in NFL history.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want me to get on Odell now?
You know what?
All he's known for is a one-handed catch.
One-handed
Patrick,
catch. And
that one-handed catch gave him the Madden cover.
Yep.
Whip-de fucking do.
And speaking of whip-de-doo,
Actually, before we get to that, we do have somebody who like to chime in and I think try to calm me down before I rip out any more air that's left in my head. Hijacker Mike. Hijacker, come on.
Odell Beckham, huh?
Does he still have your watch?
That's what I was chiming in about. I wanted to know if AJ in Nebraska knows how to retrieve it for me, man. Because when you play with a pretty much a house on your wrist, I don't know what else to say, man.
Oh boy.
Odell
right,
Beckham. Thanks, Hijacker.
thanks for hijacking.
Thanks, bud.
All right.
Odell Beckham, to me, is nothing more than a prima donna.
Big time.
Okay? Hold on.
You know what, John? I'll say this right now. That guy has a better luck at going on a boat and catching fish, going fishing, catching fish, than catching the biggest passes in a football game for the rest of his life. Because after that miraculous catch, I believe it was against the Cowboys.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Sunday Night Football.
Chris Collinsworth's mouth went into his throat. He could not believe what he was seeing. Al Michaels could not believe it. And they give this guy the Madden cover because of that. And Cleveland obviously did not need him. Cleveland did not need him for the rest of the year because one, he was injured. And number two, the rest of the season, they played way much better without him compared to when he was with the team. So I think if Cleveland gets rid of him, they're going to be fine because they had a great season this year. And I tell you know what? I tell you a team, and Lance Meadow hit this. Oh, this is a huge thing that he said last week. He says that he thinks the Seattle Seahawks are going to have a downward slope because of the simple fact that it's their offensive line. And I disagreed with him on the weapons, but again, like we were talking about in the early part of the show with the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes had nobody protecting him on the offensive line.
No.
You have no line, you have no success. Russell Wilson won a Super Bowl in 2014, could have won back-to-back if he would have given the ball to Lynch in 2015, but that's a different story for a different day.
Okay.
The simple fact that this guy had no offensive line that went nowhere, and that's no surprise. And John, like you've been preaching to me and everybody else on this show that listens, if you don't have an offensive line, you won't go nowhere. Now, please continue.
Just want to make one quick comment before we get to Statman's comment from Discord. Odell Beckham, tell you how screwed up this whole thing's going to be. You know where, if Odell does leave Cleveland, you know where I can see him going?
Where?
Right back to the Giants.
No.
Is it team worse? Oh, the Jets.
Well, him on the Jets.
Only the Jets.
Can't go any worse.
Hold on. You think the Jets now are a circus? Add him to the mix?
You can't go any worse.
Ringland, Barnum, and Bailey, whatever the fuck the circus name is.
Ringland, Barnum, Bailey
It
circus.
doesn't. No, I'm kidding. It doesn't matter.
Well,
We renamed called the New York Jets.
They're just known as just end the season.
The Jets hasn't been the same since they lost their big wide receiver, Robbie Anderson, that went to Carolina.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
What's going on with Kevin right now?
Kevin changed his name. He goes, Kevin in Massachusetts, parentheses, Statman. He goes,
I guess it's official now.
He goes, Cleveland is tricky because anything less than 10 wins will probably be looked at as a step back at best and a failure at worst, which I can agree with.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Yep.
But he also says, Odell Beckham catch that made him was helped with an excellent glove.
Oh,
Excellent glove.
He's right. The stat man has spoken.
Okay. Maybe I shouldn't go on any more rants because I feel like my blood pressure's about to go through the roof soon.
It's okay, John. It's okay. We all have those organizations in our regions that makes us go crazy.
We all have to vent.
I mean, let's face it. This guy. Oh, hold on. It just dawned on me, Marks. I think you have something you want to get off your chest.
Yeah, we've all got
Yes.
stuff on our chest. Marks, take it away.
Well, where do I start?
Where
The
you should have last
NFL
week.
honors.
I would
The
say the
NFL
toilet paper
honors.
on your wall may have something to do with it.
Yes, the NFL honors really, really pissed me off this last Saturday night. The fact that Aaron Donald, no disrespect to him, he is a good player, but I believe someone else had a better year than Aaron Donald. And that was number 90, TJ Watt. Basically, TJ Watt, if you look at his stats from this year, he received everything. He was leading with Donald, except for one category, and that was forced fumbles.
Yep.
But all of that, TJ Watt he's the NFL sack leader.
Yep.
He's the NFL tackles for loss.
Yep.
He even has an interception that Donald didn't have. But the fact that Aaron Donald, he was a big name, he got the award. Now, I believe this is going to be fuel for TJ Watt to have a better year next year. And thanks to Scott to Long Island for pointing that out.
You know, we brought that up about, big names in the NFL. It's like we talked about at the top of the show. A big name is going to get the calls in
Yes.
any sport. Michael Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Durant, Brady, Rodgers, Peyton, Breeze, Roethlisberger, Mahomes, Montana back in his day, Aikman, Favre, etc. They're going to get the calls because they're the superstar. They're the ones that puts the big money in the bank and puts the butts in the seats.
Money in the Bank. What is this? WWE?
I don't know. But the simple fact that Watt had a better statistical season than Donald makes no sense. Why do you give a guy that hardly did nothing for the Rams when I feel like he was the kind of in the back seat, lurking for that Rams defense compared to Watt? Because like you said, Marks, Watt had a way better season.
What?
Yeah. Statistically, yes.
Okay. Before we get to the announcement, did everybody get off their chest what they want to get off their chest?
Well,
Oh, heck yeah.
I think so.
All right, let's get to the announcement.
Okay. Man, this announcement, hold on, I want to put it on this computer so I actually look at this. This announcement that I'm about to make, if you're on our Discord server, you know what this announcement's going to be. But for the people on YouTube, one thing you learn when you're doing radio and you're doing podcasts, you always get those certain guests that you never thought you'd ever attain, and you get them.
Yep.
Years ago, I interviewed Kenny Albert. Never thought I'd talk to him. Talked to the guy twice. I've interviewed guys like Bucky Dent.
Goddamn 10.
But I'm here to announce that tomorrow at 5:30 p.m., we are going to be joined by none other than Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf.
Ryan Leaf.
Second overall pick in the 1998 NFL draft behind the great Sheriff Peyton Manning.
So what we're going to do for this, and I haven't built these days yet. This is just something that I just dawned on me. If you have a question for Ryan Leaf and you are not in our Discord server, which you can join if you go to discord.gg/busted open.
Busted Open Nation.
Busted open, thank you. You can tweet us, which is at ON Sports Show, with the hashtag Ask Ryan. Use the hashtag Ask Ryan. Ask any question within reason. I have to emphasize that, within reason. And we will,
But what people don't understand about this man has overcome a lot of obstacles in his life.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Absolutely.
he is also a head coach at a high school in Texas, and is doing quite well.
We could talk about him coaching high school, his NFL playing days. That's it.
And it's
Yeah.
college too.
And college, correct. Everything else is off the limit.
Yeah. So we just want to emphasize that.
Please. This was
Eddie-
emphasized to us, and we're letting our viewers know that he agreed that we could talk about his playing days, him coaching high school, his college days. That's it.
Once
And
again,
Otherwise, he's canceling it on us.
yep.
Yeah.
And once again,
we
if
don't
you're not
want that.
And once again, if you're not a part of the Discord server, you go to discord.gg/bustedupnation. You see that in the description. Get in here, ask your questions if you're not already a part of it. It's a great time to talk to people exclusively on the Discord server. We talked to Daniel McCartan back on Monday of last week, and John gave me that phone call the other day. He's like, hey, guess what we got? I'm like, who? He said, it's Friday. I said, all right. I said, who? He said, Ryan Leaf. I said, you're kidding me, right? He said, nope. I was like, wow. So we got Ryan. Once again, like John said and like Carl has said, ask reasonable questions. Don't be stupid and ask stupid questions. Ask respectable questions to this man.
I mean, this man has given us a half hour of his time. He doesn't have to. So all we're asking you guys, from myself, Marks, Steven, Carl, Hijacker, and the whole team here at Our Nation Sports Show, if you're going to ask a question to Ryan Leaf, before you hit the send button, think about the question first.
Yes.
That's all I'm going to say. But guys, this has been another great show tonight. This really, yeah, we may have had some minor technical glitches from the beginning, but I digress.
You know, being able to talk about sports and getting able to let off steam about things, about, you know, the things that we're passionate about besides, you know, professional wrestling, but talking about sports. And man, when you get into the thick of this and all this, it's a lot of fun because you're interacting with fans who love different sports like hockey, football, basketball. And man, you know, just it's a lot of fun, and we look forward to many more great episodes with you guys.
Yeah, and we appreciate everybody who's hopped on board with us. Yes, we're only at episode 2, but man, it feels like we've been doing this crap for forever. But
we're just getting
started. That's the best way to put it. Let's just go around the table quickly. Where can people find you on Twitter? Let's go with Mark first.
You can find me at Mr. Broken SN85 on Twitter.
Hey, Carl.
On Twitter, I'm at Smoke452.
Steven.
Twitter at Steven_Wyand.
And I'm at John_Blaine. Very simple, very unique. But you could also find us on Carl. I have the power to mute people. But I just got to say this one thing. Doing this show, especially with what I'm going through personally, has been great. It gives me the opportunity to let off aggression. And I have to go pick up, after we're done with the show tonight, I have to go pick up the bottle that I threw across the room. Because I think I hit something.
You poured a David Greca.
But
guys, real quick, breaking news. Red Sox and Marwin Gonzalez agreed on a 1-year, $3 million contract. Just came over the ESPN wire.
Nice.
Wow.
Nice.
We were about to sign off the air. Wow. See, this is what I like about this show. At any given time, a story can drop. Whoop.
Hold on. We got more news. Hijacker.
Yeah, I have some unfortunate news I don't like hearing, and I hope it's not true, but the Oakland A's are talking with the Mets and possibly dealing Matt Chapman to the Mets. And I just hope it's rumor talks right now, because Oakland will be on fire if they let their third baseman go.
Oh, boy.
Oh boy.
And I'm out. Thanks, gentlemen.
You're welcome. But guys, it won't be the last
Wow.
time you hear from me this week, by the way, because after being off since our Gabby Awards, I, the host of this fantastic program, makes his return to the Nation Show this Saturday. You'll hear me on there with, I forgot who.
Oh Jesus.
I just drew a blank, but neither.
One thing you're also failing to forget too, John. This is our 50th
Yes,
episode.
I was just about to get to that. This Saturday is not only another installment of the Nation Show, it's also a pretty big milestone as it's our 50th show. This is a show, and we're gonna end it on this note. This is a show that started because of the pandemic. And in 2 days, we're about to do our 50th show.
John, it is you as the main host. You have Front Row, Garza, Mongovia, Mike are your 4 hosts that night.
Thank you for giving me the heads up on that one because I forgot. But guys, this has been another installment. But before we get to that, hold on 1 second. Make sure I did this right. Going to have a little bit of end credits here.
But also, too, before we end the show, guys, Sunday is Valentine's Day. Take your loved ones out. Take them for dinner. Cook them dinner. Treat them right.
I am. And I'm not going to White Castle.
And whatever you do, please don't go to White Castle. White Castle has a special where you can get married in the store. Don't do that. Enjoy Valentine's Day with your loved ones.
Well, some of us will be on Zoom watching Vengeance Day.
Yep,
instead of
because
going out.
NXT Takeover Vengeance Day is that very night.
Hold on 1 second. What just happened here? Here we go. And guys, this has been another fantastic installment of the Nation Show. We'll
You mean
catch you
our
Nation Show.
Our Nation Sports
Our
Show.
nation.
I had
Ay,
a
ay, ay.
flip up there, okay?
Mm.
All right, let's end it.
Peace.
Have a good night, guys.
Laters.